What was Pam Bondi really doing behind closed doors, and who was in the room with her? These aren't rumors anymore. A secret political meeting has been exposed, and the details are sending shockwaves through both Republican and Democratic circles. In this video, we break down exactly what happened, who was involved, and what this could mean for Pam Bondi's political future. Just days after Pam Bondi's heated and uncomfortable confrontation with the media that left both supporters and critics stunned, a confidential memo surfaced that changed everything. This wasn't a random online rumor or tabloid speculation. It was a carefully worded document, allegedly marked confidential, and meant for internal political use only. The memo, leaked anonymously to several political insiders and later picked up by online journalists, claimed that Bondi had recently attended a private, off-the-record meeting with a group of powerful conservative figures. What made this meeting so unusual was not just who was there, but how it was hidden. According to the leak, the meeting took place at a private estate in Tallahassee, Florida, under an extraordinary level of secrecy. Security was reportedly tight, guests arrived at staggered times, cell phones were confiscated at the door, and all electronic surveillance equipment was shut down for the night. There was no media coverage, no public statement, and no record of the meeting in Bondi's public schedule. The location was carefully chosen to avoid attention, and the event was cloaked in enough discretion to suggest something much more serious than a casual political catch-up. The whistleblower, whose identity remains unknown, claimed that this wasn't just a standard strategy session, it was a high-stakes, pre-crisis meeting between players with a lot to lose and possibly even more to gain. According to the memo, the attendees included a former senior advisor from Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, known for his ability to orchestrate hard-hitting political comebacks, a media consultant who has helped several embattled right-wing figures navigate public scandals, and two major GOP donors from Florida who are known to have close ties to influential super PACs and political media firms. The leak noted that the meeting revolved around several sensitive topics, none of which have been publicly confirmed, but all of which have sparked intense speculation. Chief among them were discussions about repositioning Pam Bondi for a possible Senate run in 2026, rebranding her public image after the recent backlash, and launching a new conservative media platform aimed at reclaiming the narrative. But perhaps the most explosive claim was that the group had received early warning of an undisclosed legal threat, possibly an investigation or complaint that has not yet been made public. If true, that revelation could change everything. It suggests that Bondi and her team might not just be preparing for a political return, but bracing for a legal or reputational storm. The leak doesn't name the source of the alleged legal threat, but some speculate it could involve campaign finance issues, ethical violations from her time as Florida's Attorney General, or her role in previous high-profile political lobbying efforts. As the story gained momentum online, political commentators and watchdogs began digging deeper. Several noted that the timing of the meeting was no coincidence. Bondi had been under fire following a tense and combative appearance at a press event just days earlier, where she appeared unprepared for tough questions from journalists. That moment had gone viral, leading to a wave of criticism from both sides of the political aisle. And now, as the dust was settling, it was revealed that instead of stepping back, she had gone straight into a private huddle with powerful allies. This only intensified suspicion. Why the secrecy? Why the urgency? And what exactly are they planning? Some believe the answer is simple: damage control. They argue that Bondi is trying to regroup after a rough public moment, rebuild her team, and prepare for the next stage of her political life. Others are not so sure. To them, this meeting points to something much more calculated, perhaps even something hidden. If Bondi is indeed planning a Senate campaign, as the memo suggests, then this meeting could represent the first major step in that direction. On the other hand, if she's preparing to counter legal trouble, it means there's more to this story than meets the eye. Political analysts are split. Some say it's a smart move, bonding with donors, strategists, and crisis experts behind closed doors before stepping back into the spotlight. Others argue it's exactly the kind of shadowy politics that turns voters off. And while Bondi has refused to comment directly on the leak, calling it baseless fiction through a spokesperson, the lack of a direct denial has only added fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, speculation has exploded on social media, with hashtags like #PamBondiLeak and #SecretMeeting trending across political Twitter and conservative Reddit threads. Journalists have already begun filing public records requests. Independent investigators are trying to track the flight logs of those allegedly in attendance. Even some Republican insiders are reportedly nervous about what else might be revealed. What started as a quiet attempt at damage control may have triggered a political storm that Bondi is now struggling to contain. Whether the memo was fully accurate or not, one thing is clear: someone close to that meeting wanted the public to know it happened. And in politics, things don't leak by accident. If the claims in the memo prove true, Bondi's political playbook just got exposed, and her opponents will be watching her next move very closely. According to the leaked notes from Pam Bondi's secret meeting, the discussions that took place behind those closed doors were anything but routine. The memo revealed a detailed agenda that, if true, could drastically reshape Bondi's public role, her future in politics, and possibly, her legal exposure. The group, made up of political strategists, media handlers, and high-level donors, reportedly focused on 4 major topics, each more dramatic than the last. First, they discussed repositioning Pam Bondi's public image. After a recent and very visible backlash in the media, including her awkward live press moment that went viral, it seems clear that her current public persona has taken a hit. To some, Bondi comes off as too combative, too connected to old controversies, and not in touch with the current political landscape. According to the leak, the group explored ways to rebrand her. Softening her image, updating her messaging, and possibly crafting a new narrative that would make her more relatable to modern conservative voters, especially younger audiences and suburban women. The leaked notes suggest this rebranding wouldn't be subtle. It would involve a full-scale image overhaul, carefully crafted interviews, staged photo ops, and possibly even curated social media moments designed to rebuild trust and boost likability. But that was only the beginning. The second, and perhaps most strategic, point on the agenda was the possibility of launching a Senate campaign in 2026. Bondi, a former Florida Attorney General with deep Republican ties, has long been rumored to be eyeing a return to elected office. The meeting reportedly included early talks about potential fundraising avenues, key endorsements, and polling strategies. While no official decision was made, the group allegedly believed she still had enough political capital to make a viable run. Especially if they could control the narrative early and roll out a strong campaign launch before her opponents had time to respond. There was even speculation, according to the whistleblower, that certain GOP insiders had already been approached for quiet support, signaling that this idea may be further along than the public realizes. The third point was particularly intriguing and hinted at a larger strategy that goes beyond elected office. The memo states that Bondi's team discussed the idea of launching a conservative media venture, something that could function as both a communication tool and a brand-building platform. In recent years, many political figures have used media to maintain influence, control their message, and even generate income. From podcasts to video commentary channels to influencer-style political accounts, the rise of a politician-turned-media personality is becoming increasingly common. For Bondi, who already has a recognizable name and past television appearances, this path could serve multiple purposes. It could help her rebuild her image in a more controlled environment. It could create a loyal audience base outside the reach of traditional media. And if she does run for office again, it could function as a built-in campaign machine. But none of those plans compare to the fourth, and most explosive, topic allegedly discussed during the meeting: preparing a response plan for an incoming legal controversy. According to the leak, this issue dominated a large portion of the conversation and had everyone in the room on edge. The memo did not detail exactly what legal issue was coming, but it stated that Bondi's legal and political advisors were aware of a pending investigation, complaint, or expose that had not yet gone public. The source speculated it could be from the Department of Justice, a Florida state watchdog agency, or a politically motivated leak. Whatever it is, it sounds serious enough that Bondi's team wanted to get ahead of it, crafting talking points, media strategies, and possibly even legal defenses before the story breaks. This changes the tone of the entire meeting. What some originally thought was a political strategy session now looks more like a crisis response summit. The idea that a public figure like Pam Bondi might be preparing for a scandal that hasn't even gone public yet is unsettling to say the least, and it's fueling a wave of speculation online and within political circles. Some believe this meeting was an emergency move, a last-minute effort to contain a narrative before it explodes. Others see it as the first calculated step in a long-term comeback strategy. Maybe both are true. The secrecy surrounding the meeting has only added to its mystique. If Bondi and her advisors were confident about their political plans, why keep the meeting completely private? Why not control the press coverage and turn it into a bold comeback moment? The answer might be simple, because what they discussed was too sensitive for public ears. A well-known political analyst, when asked to comment, said something that has since gone viral. If you're meeting this privately, with this many power players, and keeping it out of the press, it's because something big is either being built, or being buried. That line has become a kind of rallying cry for those demanding transparency. The idea that high-ranking political figures are making plans, whether for a campaign, a media empire, or a legal defense, without any public oversight has reignited debates about backroom politics, elite control, and media manipulation. And yet, from Bondi's side, there's been near total silence. Her spokesperson has called the leak baseless fiction, but beyond that, no public statement has addressed the specifics. No denial. No clarification. No transparency. And in the absence of answers, speculation continues to grow. Political journalists are watching closely. Opponents are digging deeper. And viewers across the country are asking the same question: what exactly is Pam Bondi preparing for? Whether this meeting marks the beginning of a new political chapter, or the start of a scandal unraveling in real time, one thing is certain: we haven't heard the last of it. The silence from Bondi's camp is louder than any press release. And until the truth comes out, this story will only keep growing. The public reaction to the leaked memo detailing Pam Bondi's secret political meeting was immediate, explosive, and deeply divided, sparking fierce debates across newsrooms, social media platforms, and political circles. Within hours of the story breaking, supporters of Bondi rushed to her defense, arguing that as a seasoned political figure and private citizen, she has every right to hold closed-door meetings with her allies, especially following what many of them described as a calculated, media ambush that took place just days before. They see the leak not as evidence of wrongdoing, but as an unfair intrusion into a private strategy session designed to regroup after a turbulent press appearance. In their view, the backlash Bondi faced at the media event was an orchestrated attempt to publicly humiliate her, and the subsequent leak is yet another step in a long-standing effort to derail her political ambitions. To them, the secrecy around the meeting is completely justified, a tactical move to protect internal planning from a hostile press and opposition forces who are quick to twist narratives. On the other side of the aisle, however, critics see things very differently. For them, this leak is not just concerning, it's confirmation of everything they've suspected about Bondi all along. The fact that such a powerful collection of political operatives and donors met entirely off the record, without any disclosure or transparency, has led many to believe that Bondi is still knee-deep in the world of backroom deals, hush-hush alliances, and power games that prioritize loyalty and control over honesty and openness. They argue that if her intentions were purely political or professional, there would have been no need for such extreme secrecy. The presence of crisis managers, media consultants, and known campaign donors only adds to their suspicion that something far more controversial may be unfolding behind the scenes, perhaps a preemptive strike against an investigation, or a manipulation of public image in anticipation of a deeper scandal. Almost immediately after the leak, political watchdog groups began digging for clues, and within hours, online researchers and amateur sleuths on platforms like Reddit and X, formerly known as Twitter, had already connected a startling number of dots. They started analyzing recent shifts in campaign donations across Florida, noting that several large contributions had changed direction or vanished entirely. Some began tracking domain name purchases related to potential Bondi campaign slogans or conservative media platforms, suggesting that preparations may already be underway for a future political or media launch. Others pointed to recently deleted tweets and LinkedIn activity from individuals once closely associated with Bondi's former campaigns, details that might seem minor, but in the digital age, often signal a coordinated effort to scrub information before a major announcement or controversy. Within 48 hours of the leak, the hashtag #PamBondi leak was trending, drawing in thousands of tweets from both critics and defenders. The conversation quickly escalated, moving beyond speculation to calls for transparency and accountability. Several investigative journalists filed FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requests with state agencies, looking to uncover communications, funding trails, or any other documents that could validate or disprove the contents of the memo. At least one publication suggested that subpoenas may be issued in the coming weeks, especially if legal concerns are confirmed to be part of the closed-door discussions. Meanwhile, the press and political analysts have not forgotten the context in which all of this is happening. Just days earlier, Pam Bondi stood in front of a swarm of cameras during a press conference that did not go her way. Her body language, tone, and refusal to directly answer certain questions became an instant viral moment, one that painted her as evasive and combative, rather than confident and composed. That incident alone raised questions about her political future. Now, this leaked meeting has complicated things even further. For her base, this may be a rallying cry. A sign that Bondi is under attack from the mainstream media and political elites, and thus, needs their support more than ever. For others, it could be the final straw, proof that Bondi is operating in the shadows while claiming to serve the public interest. Her ability to recover from this will depend heavily on what happens next, how she addresses the controversy, whether more information leaks, and how the public perceives her silence or her response. Every moment that passes without a clear explanation only adds fuel to the fire. People want to know what was discussed, why it was kept hidden, and what Bondi is planning to do next. Is she preparing for a run? A new media empire? Or is she bracing for a scandal that hasn't yet surfaced? The uncertainty alone is enough to keep this story alive and trending. What makes this moment so critical is that it's unfolding in a hyper-connected world, where public opinion can be swayed in real time, and where even the slightest hint of impropriety can spark a digital avalanche of speculation and criticism. Whether Pam Bondi is orchestrating a comeback or attempting to dodge an oncoming political storm, her every move is now being watched, dissected, and shared. The fallout from this leak could reshape her career, and depending on what else surfaces, it might even reshape the dynamics of Florida's political landscape. One thing is clear, this is no longer just about a leaked memo. It's about trust, power, transparency, and the ever-thinning line between strategy and secrecy in American politics. So what does all this mean for Pam Bondi? The answer lies in what she chooses to do next, because her future now stands at a crucial crossroads. In politics, perception is often more powerful than reality, and right now, the perception of Bondi's motives, strategies, and secrets is shaping fast, without her direct input. If she chooses to remain silent, if she avoids public statements or continues to let unnamed sources speak on her behalf, the speculation will only grow louder. Political insiders and analysts alike agree that silence in a situation like this is not neutral, it's dangerous. Every hour that passes without clarity adds weight to the assumption that there is something she doesn't want the public to know. Whether that's true or not becomes secondary to how people interpret it, and in the digital age, those interpretations spread quickly. Already, the headlines are multiplying, the theories are growing more elaborate, and her critics are using the vacuum of information to shape a damaging narrative. If Bondi hopes to regain control of her public image and steer this conversation in her favor, she'll likely need to go public, and soon. That could mean issuing a carefully worded statement, sitting down for a major interview, or even teasing a political campaign in order to shift the focus and reframe the leak as part of a larger, legitimate strategy. She has options, but each one comes with risk. Going public without a clear, honest explanation could backfire and make her look more calculated than candid. Delaying a response too long could make her seem evasive or unprepared. In this moment, timing and tone are everything. If she is indeed preparing for a Senate run, as the leaked memo suggests, the stakes become even higher. Her opponents, both on the left and the right, will not hesitate to weaponize this secret meeting. Her critics will frame it as proof that she continues to operate in the shadows, relying on wealthy donors and backroom strategists instead of transparency and voter engagement. They'll say this leak exposes the very thing people distrust most about establishment politics, the idea that decisions are made in private, long before the public ever gets a say. But for her supporters, this meeting could be seen as a smart, forward-thinking move. They may view it as evidence that she's still a serious political player, one who is laying the groundwork for a bold return and is surrounding herself with seasoned strategists. In their eyes, this leak only proves that Bondi is being targeted because she remains a threat, someone who can still move the needle, raise money, and win votes. The narrative can go either way, and that's what makes this moment so pivotal. Bondi is now back in the national spotlight, whether she wanted to be or not. The political heat around her is intensifying, and what was once a quiet, strategic recalibration has turned into a public spectacle. This situation could mark the beginning of a powerful political resurrection, a chance to reintroduce herself to voters with a fresh message, a compelling plan, and renewed energy. If she seizes the moment correctly, she could ride the controversy all the way to a successful campaign, using it as fuel to show that she's unafraid, unapologetic, and ready to fight. But it could just as easily be the spark that ignites a deeper scandal, especially if more information leaks or if the rumored legal trouble becomes reality. Political history is full of figures who tried to keep secrets and ended up losing public trust when those secrets unraveled. For Bondi, the risk is real. If this situation spins further out of her control, it could burn bridges with potential donors, alienate swing voters, and limit her influence within the GOP. The outcome will depend entirely on how she handles the next few days and weeks. Every choice she makes now, what she says, how she says it, and when, will determine whether this becomes a comeback story or a cautionary tale. The spotlight is firmly fixed on her now, and it won't fade easily. In the world of politics, you don't get many chances to control the narrative once it's escaped your grip. Bondi has one now, but it won't last forever. Whether she uses this moment to reset her image and re-enter the political arena with force, or whether she lets the pressure and silence consume her public credibility, is entirely up to her. What's certain is that the next move is hers, and everyone is watching. Thanks for watching Inside American Politics. If you found this story surprising, or suspicious, drop a comment below. What do you think was discussed in that meeting? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more political deep dives, drama, and real-time stories from behind closed doors. And remember, in politics, nothing leaks by accident.